Hey, I'm Boki and this is Bopin with 2000's Tuning. Last month I got a bunch of new magazines in my collection, and in some of them I've discovered concept sketches of various body kits before they were produced. That made me wonder if the sketches differ from the final product, or if some of the body kits were scrapped. So here's a couple of body kits which were either changed before production, or were never made in the first place. Think of it as some sort of lost media meets cut video game content kinda episode. Starting off with Abflug, they made body kits for both the Nissan Silvia S14 and the Skyline R34 GTS. The sketches drawn by Uwabo Masamichi, the founder of Abflug, show that the bumper for the S14 was meant to have a grille instead of the bumper blocking it off. While the front is nearly unchanged, the sketch shows that the rear was meant to be a bit wilder. There's a rear widebody flare which integrates into the rear bumper, similar to the widebodies that they made for the 180SX and the S13 Silvia. Besides the big hole, the rear bumper generally looks very different from the final design. The R33 on the other hand, of which I only have a frontal sketch, originally had the grille blocked off. This was changed as you can see here. But enough about Abflug's normal cars. Back in 1995, Uwabo wanted to make his own car. The Mure was meant to be a complete car based on a Fiero. It was a non-functional shell, however it was meant to be powered by a 560 horsepower strong VG30 DETT. Its final design was very similar to the Ferrari Mythos, however the Mure's concept sketch was nothing like that. It wasn't a speedster initially either. While I can't tell you why the design was drastically changed, I can tell you that the Mure unfortunately didn't get past its initial prototype stage and ended up getting scrapped. Also, random fun fact, if you haven't noticed it yet, the windshield of the Mure is the rear glass from a last generation Mazda RX-7. Another tuner which had an interesting concept car that didn't get anywhere was Blitz, with their GT941A Supra. I will not go into too much detail about it though, but it serves as a basis for the body kit we'll talk about in a moment. Shown off at Tokyo Auto Salon in 1994, the GT941A was essentially a concept car. There it won the Excellence Award. Blitz developed the car with racing in mind, since they were already competing in the JGTC. However, due to their lack of success, they pulled out of the sport, the project was scrapped, and the car was sold. Now the reason I told you about this car is because the next year Blitz made a body kit based on the GT941A, but as a non-wide body, and information about anything regarding that kit is practically non-existent. However, there's a total of 3 cars which ran parts of it. Obviously, Blitz's own GT941 demo car is featuring the complete kit, but unexpectedly, there's also 2 Supras from the US which had pieces of it too. One was Sean Walker's car from California, which had his kit imported into the US by Zen Motorsports back in around 1996 or 1997, and the other is from Kali Aguilar Ramon from New Jersey. I cannot find much info about his car, but the earliest photos I have of Sean's Supra are from 1999, and the earliest of Kali's seem to be from around 2002 or 2003. So, was this kit ever commercially available? Unfortunately, I cannot give a guaranteed answer. I don't like including information in my videos which I cannot completely confirm, but I legitimately cannot find out if this body kit was ever officially sold or not. My own suspicion is that they're prototype parts, but I don't know. I'm just speculating. However, what I noticed during research is that both of the American cars lack a matching rear bumper, which is barely visible on this photo of the demo car. While Walker's Supra has just a stock rear bumper, Kali is running a C-West rear valance kit, so the only car to have the Blitz rear valances is Blitz's own car. But since I mentioned C-West already, how about we check out their body kits? They have this habit of sketching a lot of cool designs and then either changing or scrapping them entirely. Important to note is that C-West's body kits are almost all made with racing in mind. They're passionate about their participation in motorsports and as serious as you can get when it comes to testing and developing their aero parts. One of the scrapped kits is for the pre-facelift Honda NSX. It's a complete body kit featuring a front and rear bumper, skirts, and a spoiler. C-West ended up producing a front lip for the facelift NSX in 2005 instead, while the body kit never went past the concept sketches and got scrapped. Another body kit that never made it past the design stage was meant for the FC RX-7. This kit featured a front bumper, side skirts, and rear bumper. The rear bumper has the same design as the one on the R34 GTR's N1 kit with its holes on the lower lip, but we'll talk about that car later. Up next, C-West came up with a new template design for their body kits around the year 2000. Initially, they wanted the GD Bug-Eye Impreza to get a full GT body kit. This design was never used for any of the GD chassis Imprezas and was only seen used on the 3rd gen hatchback. The Bug-Eye and Blob-Eye both got C-West parts made for them, but weirdly enough they decided to skip out on the Hawkeye. And the Blob-Eye only got a weird half bumper, while the Bug-Eye had both that and later in 2001 a complete bumper. In 2002, when the 350Z came out, Seawest was one of the first to try their hand at designing a body kit for it. They wanted to go all out with a kit that features a front and rear bumper, side skirts, mirrors, a wing, and a hood. But guess what? All of this has been scrapped too in favor for a different design. However, the thing that makes this kit stand out from all of the others that I'm featuring in this video is the fact that this body kit is featured in its entirety in a game. Automodelista, a game I talked about in a previous video, features tons of interesting body kits. However, the Seawest 350Z concept kit is to me the most interesting one in the game. Staying with Nissans, let's talk R34 for a moment. Both the GTR and non-GTR got the Seawest treatment. Starting off with the ER34, which surprisingly shares a lot of similarities with the final version, was meant to have a slightly different front bumper, a completely unique hood, and from what I can see in the sketch, likely a different rear bumper too. Surprising to me, it looks like the side skirts design was never changed. The final version, as you can see, still resembles the sketch to a degree. The same can be said with the R34 GTR's initial design too. The side skirts, again, have not been changed after the sketches. However, the front bumper was meant to have an extra set of vents next to the indicators, a simplified rear bumper, but most interestingly, a unique hood. Up next, let's talk about the GReddy RXS Rock R33 GTR. This is a demo car for GReddy Trust that was built to show off GReddy's finest technological advancements back in 1995. It was a high-powered car with 840 horsepower and a commercially available body kit consisting of a front lip, side skirts, rear valances, and a gigantic rear wing. The first version of the body kit isn't what's of interest though. After the first version, they decided to refresh the car in 1996 for Tokyo Auto Salon. In this concept sketch that I found inside of my Tokyo Auto Salon guidebook, they teased a new front bumper, they updated the side skirts, and added a hood spoiler. They did end up updating the visuals with a new front bumper, however without the N1 ducts or the vents on the side. They did add the hood spoiler with eyelets though, and most importantly, a rear half spoiler, or half bumper. Whatever you want to call it, that part was unfortunately scrapped alongside the skirts from the sketch. It's disappointing considering how well it flows with the rest of the body kit, because for the third update of the car, they went back to the plain rear valances and also got rid of the hood spoiler eyelet combo in favor of an N1 hood lip. Anyway, I've been talking a lot about Japanese tuning shops, but don't worry because I have something really cool from an American design studio. If you're not familiar with 5-axis design, let me explain to you who they are and what you might have seen from them. They're an automotive concept and design company which focused on building concept cars for car manufacturers. They work closely together with companies such as Toyota, Scion and Honda, and were responsible for cars such as the Honda Model X, which later became the Honda Element, the real-life Diora 2, which was made in collaboration with Chip Foods, or any of these crazy signs that you see here. Those were all designed and built by 5-axis themselves, but neither of these signs are the cars that I'll be talking about for this segment. Instead, I'm going to talk about their Civic SI. This car was commissioned by Sparco USA, who wanted to show off the potential and Sparco's vision of the at the time new Civic at SEMA. While it is Sparco that commissioned the car, they also helped with creating it. Alongside, obviously 5-axis, but also HKS, Pioneer, H&R, Axis Wheels, Nitto, and more. Now, I'd go more in depth about the car itself, but this video is about design. 5-axis was inspired by Formula 1, rally and DTM cars with a hint of tuner styling to create the body kit's design. These design sketches really show you that they weren't playing around. Interesting to note is how the DTM concept looks like it's using headlights from an Acura RSX. They took the best elements from each design and seamlessly put them together to create the final design, which they then built in real life. The body kit was put into production in early 2003 and produced by Versus Motorsport. The final design slightly differs from the 5-axis Civic. The grille area is no longer blocked off and received an intake vent, while the rest of the front remained unchanged. The fenders and side skirts haven't been changed either, however the rear bumper's side vents were redesigned and the rear wing was scrapped and not part of the Versus kit. On to the last changed body kit for this video. While researching the various cars and concepts, I came across far more of them than I ever imagined. I would love to cover more of them in this video, but I've already delayed it several times as I kept learning more and more about the cars and the tuners behind them. Additionally, I also had to sort out my archive for almost every tuner and shop I've mentioned. But this isn't the end of the video just yet. I still want to tell you about the Amemiya Super G8. The car was first announced in Option magazine from September 2003. The magazine features an article with sketches of the car. I'm not entirely sure if these are actual concept sketches, since Option magazine likes to do sketches for upcoming cars themselves. I mention this because back in the day, designer Shoji Tamon used to design just about all of the body kits for Amemiya until he left in 2001, after he made his own company, Tamon Design. To me, this doesn't really look like his work, but him leaving Amemiya doesn't mean he can't still work with them. The blueprints in the magazine served a real cool purpose though. Mr. Amemiya wanted the readers of Option to come up with a livery design for the car as a collaboration project between Amemiya and Option magazine. The winners would be revealed in the November issue of the same year. Unfortunately, I don't own that issue, so I can't show you anything that's featured in there. The winner got a super luxurious gift from Amemiya, and 5 others would get an assortment of goods from Option magazine. If you want to play around with the blueprints that they provided yourself, check out my Patreon, where I've uploaded the scans for free. With the Super G8, Ame-san was responsible for designing the bodywork and hand-modeled the body kit with clay. He was very careful with designing the car, as he didn't want to make it look like a ST202 Celica or a JZS161 Aristo. Those were his words, not mine. Work on the car started after the contest was finished, and the deadline for the RX-8 was Tokyo Auto Salon 2004. He initially wanted to only use the big Mercedes CL headlights, but he didn't end up liking the way it looked. But also inspecting the car would have been more difficult. The big light is the low beam light, whilst the small one is the high beam one. Amemiya planned to sell the kit, so road compliance was top priority. It was planned to sell 10 to 20 units, but only 2 complete kits existed. Those were Amemiya's own car, and this one, which was a customer car. The current whereabouts of each car are unknown, but the customer car has been last seen being sold in 2012.